call to order. I'm going to call to order my meeting. And then I'm going to have Joe call to order his meeting. And then Jerry call to order his meeting, okay? So I'd like to bring to order the January 14th meeting of the Town Council Budget Workshop. I'm sorry, Joint Workshop. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with
liberty,
and
justice for all.
Sherry, I like your flag. Joan, could you do a roll call, please?
Councilor Medeiros,
Here.
Councilor Burke,
You're on mute, Mike.
Yeah, here.
Councilor Cook,
Here.
Councilor Perry,
Present.
Councilor Janik,
Present.
Councilor Edwards,
Here,
Councilor Vieira,
Here.
all present.
Thank you, Joan. Joe Souza, would you like to bring to order your meeting?
I think he's
Joe,
frozen.
Joe, you hear me?
He's frozen.
Yeah, he is frozen. Does somebody want to bring to order the budget committee meeting?
I will call to order the Budget Committee meeting for January 14th, 2021, joint meeting with the Town Council and School Committee. I'd like to call roll call. Dan Darren,
Aye, yes, here.
John Edwards,
Present.
Sherry Ockery's present, Thor Ockery,
Present.
Cynthia Isherwood. I don't know if she got on or not.
She is on. She's muted.
Okay, Dave Perry,
I don't see Dave.
Dave said he couldn't make it.
He Okay.
Gonna be here.
okay, absent from this one. Okay, Judy Jones,
Here.
Tom Haley,
He is not here.
he's absent too. Okay, he's out of town. Joe Souza,
Present for the
Oh, there
moment.
you are,
Mike.
Joe.
Mike Janik,
Present.
Joe Schramm.
Present.
Thank you. Jerry Lockett, would you like to bring to order your committee?
Sure, I'll call to order the school committee. We generally don't do a roll call. We're all here, as well as the superintendent and the finance director.
Okay, the
So-
second line of business is discussion on fiscal year 2021, 2022. Jerry, would you like to start?
Sure. And actually, before I introduce Dr. Sanchioni and Ms. Roderick, I just kind of want to make a couple quick comments, at least on my own behalf. But I believe the school committee shares these, and I think all of us do. This is kind of a pro forma meeting. A lot of us have been through it before. But it's sort of a unique opportunity where we're all in the same room, or in this case, on the same screen or same couple of screens. And I think it's the only time that this happens, except for when we have the financial town hearing. I also know that we've probably all been horrified by the events that have taken place over the last week that are a threat to our democracy, to our republic, and to civil society in general. I think we all understand that the offices we hold and the work we do are actually democracy as manifested in Tiverton. It's also been a very tough year for all of us, all of our bodies, for the town. For many of us, it's been tough, both financially as well as professionally, and personally. And it's going to be a tough year. I don't think anybody is under any illusions about that. But I think we have all always worked together and will continue to work together and be honest with each other, respectful with each other, and try to do what's best for all of us. So, and I think the reason I feel like I need to make this statement is because, having been one of the people just reelected and sworn in, it struck me again, in the light of all that's been happening, that we actually swear an oath to uphold the Constitution as well as the Charter and the Constitution of Rhode Island. So with that said, I'd like to introduce Dr. Sanchioni and Ms. Roderick, who can give you some very preliminary information about the school department's budget for FY22. Dr. Sanchioni? You're muted, Peter.
And I never mute myself because I'm usually doing all the speaking. So thanks for the reminder. And thank you, Dr. Locken. It's a pleasure to be with all of you this evening. On Tuesday evening, the school committee voted to send to the budget committee and to the town administrator a budget of $32,506,856. And the numbers right now probably still need to be looked at and vetted in a lot of ways. I think what is important for everyone to understand it is that our budget comes to you representing the needs of 1,800 students and 165 staff members. It's a no frills budget. It's a budget that's coming off a very tough year where we laid off 24 teachers that we had last year. And we're seeing the impact of those layoffs this year in our schools. We don't deliver the same services that we delivered last year, and students are suffering as a result of that. And so as we work through this process and we get toward the FTR in May and the final vote on May 25th, my job is to advocate for those students and those teachers all the way through. And I know you all will respect that and understand that we're going to go after a budget that's going to prevent us from laying off any more teachers and continue to deliver the services, the ones at least we have this year into next year. So I know there's a lot of work to do. And, we look forward to working with you, as Dr. Locken said, in the most collegial and collaborative way possible.
I'm back. Thank you, Peter. I'll speak on I will pass this over to our administrator, Chris Carter, but I do want to tell you that the school committee, the town council just received the budget on Monday. We have looked at it. This is a very preliminary budget. We plan workshops with all the department heads like we have in the past and go over their budget. And of course, there's going to be some cuts, and we're going to have priorities explained to us by the administrators or the department heads, and we'll go on from there. Keep in mind, we are coming in high, but this is just preliminary. This is what the department heads felt were their priorities, and at some point we will have them prioritize them more. I want to thank all the members of the budget committee and some of you who volunteered to do this when only one person actually put their name on the ballot. And I want to commend you for this. This is a very difficult job. I've been watching it for over 20 years, and I wouldn't want your job. That's why I never ran for your job. And I want to thank you all for your dedication to this town. Of course, sorry, my dog's barking. Of course, we are in really tight situation right now, so it's going to be a difficult task. But I also hope that come here. Sorry, guys. I also hope at some point we can come together and compromise and put out the fairest budget for the taxpayers. Yes.
So I agree with everything Dr. Locken said and Council President Tiverton, that this is going to be a very, very difficult year, as we have been watching a lot of things unfold. The economy is in really bad shape. The state's looking at $500 million worth of deficits coming up for this year, let alone how that builds into a structural for FY22. We have seen the dance of promised stimulus monies come and go. So we're all walking on eggshells to see how we're going to piece our parcels together and try to provide a semblance of service that needs to be done, whether it's education or on the municipal side. And I know that sometimes appears that we have competing interests, but at the end of the day, we're all trying to do what's right for the residents of Tiverton. And we will try to go through that process as amicably and as professionally as possible to at least get the information out that there are definitely needs in this town, but there are also legitimate constraints that we're going to be all bound by, whether it's the the way funding is, allocated by the general laws of the state, and how the monies are allocated by the state for aid for our community, and whether or not we can generate, the appropriate revenues outside of those venues from within the town. So it is going to be a very, very difficult year. We are going to hear that there are a lot of needs both on the school side and on the, the town side as well. And I don't mean to say that as to be frictional. It's just realistic, and it's something we'll deal with that we have in every year. So I do agree that we need to be as forthright about our needs and how we anticipate on getting them funded, and be respectful of each other's needs as we go through this process. So it will be a daunting task. The budget committee will have their work cut out for them. At the end of the day, we can really only provide those services that the town can afford to pay for. So, I expect to get hit just as hard, this year as we did last year, but we still have to put these needs out there and let people understand what it is that we're going to be foregoing as we go through this process. So with that, I hope to work well with all of you.
Thanks, Chris. Denise, you're muted. Denise, you're muted.
Yeah, I know, the dog was barking.
Ah,
Joe, I'd like to congratulate you for becoming the chairman of the budget committee. I think tonight it's a congratulations. It's a tough task. I forgot to mention, our first workshop will be the 23rd, and we'll be reviewing the police and the fire budget. And what I've done in the past with the chairman of the budget committee is kind of coordinate what we're discussing, so that when you're discussing it, we have a better outlook and what we think is going to happen. So if we can coordinate that, that's usually very helpful to get this going. Joe, would you like to say anything?
Well, yes,
Up, you're frozen.
He has internet connection problems, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So while we're waiting
Hello?
for Joe,
Here he comes.
here he comes.
All right, okay. I'm not going to say anything good about Cox Cable tonight. Well, I'm going to first say that for the first time in many years, I think the council made a wise choice with our town administrator. And it's going to make the budget season easier because we have an administrator who's not only developed budgets in our town, but actually can find a street in our town. So that's a compliment to the man, because I've worked with other administrators and I didn't really care for them. So I'm complimenting the budget committee and the new administrator.
Thank you, Joe. Would any of my town council like to offer anything at this point? The school committee?
Yeah, so I'll open the floor to any member of the school committee. If you just want to unmute and raise your hand, jump in.
Wow, did I get cut off again?
No,
Yeah,
you're on.
You did.
This internet stinks. Did you hear me praising Chris Carter at least?
yes, you did.
That was good, Joe. You ended on a good note, Joe.
Okay,
You want to praise anybody else before you go?
Make it easier for the town. That was my main point, and I'm looking forward to working together. And Denise, only that, I think you're correct. Once you review your part of the budget and send it to us, that's where the coordination come through the administrator, so that we're not getting ahead of you.
Good, thank you.
So Joe, the school committee congratulates you as well. This will probably be the only night you're happy that you're chair. The bloom isn't off the rose already. But let us know what dates work for you. Again, our budget remains fairly preliminary and, still need some work. So whenever you guys want to set a date for us to come before you, please let us
A little
know.
closer, hopefully, to completion.
Sorry, say that again.
When you come a little closer to completion, hopefully that's when I can
Okay.
have you for your presentation. That way you get a realistic picture of what you're looking for.
At this time, is any member of the budget committee, would you like to add anything? Sherry?
I was first wondering if we could just introduce our new members, that maybe the other committee members have not, at least let them introduce themselves. I had put that on our agenda.
Sure.
Good idea.
Okay. Dan Darren,
Yes, ma'am. Nice to meet you all. I'm looking forward to working with all of you. I'm looking forward to doing the people's business and lots and lots of good governance. And just as an aside, I have a large collection of porcelain frogs in terms of personal info.
okay. And then I think everybody knows who John Edwards is. Dave's not there. Judy Jones.
You're muted.
You're muted, Judy.
Judy,
John, where's your sign?
It's right there.
Judy Jones.
Call out everybody else's imitators.
There she is.
hi Judy, we couldn't hear you before.
Okay, Judy Jones, lifelong Tiverton resident. I'm new to the budget committee, so I'm going to learn a lot, I guess.
Yes, you are.
Hopefully good things.
Yeah, you might not want to learn everything you're going to learn, but it'll be okay.
Okay, Cynthia Isherwood.
She's muted.
Cindy, you muted.
Okay, now is it okay?
Yes, it is, Cindy. Welcome.
Okay. Cindy Isherwood, lifelong resident, first time on any committee, looking forward to it. I'm sure I'll learn a lot too.
Okay.
Mike Janik.
Thank you, everybody, for the welcome. I'm looking forward to this opportunity. I think it'll be an interesting time. As everybody has kind of alluded to, this is a unprecedented time we're working in, so it's going to be an interesting process this year. And I'd like to just ask if we could all kick in a couple of bucks, we could get Joe a Verizon hotspot. So that
Hey, I'm all for it.
Maybe we could.
Thank you.
Okay, Joe Schramm.
Hi, Joe Schramm. I moved to Tiverton about 6 months ago, and I'm just looking forward to working with everyone and making a difference.
Welcome to Tiverton, Joe.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't know if anybody else, did you want me to go ahead and say?
Well, how about Thor? How about
Yeah, don't forget Thor.
Okay, Sherry, not a good start.
Thor Ockery.
You know him?
Obviously, some of you know me. I've met quite a few of you through Sherry, but hopefully this will give me an opportunity to get to know some of you much better. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you on this more complicated than it probably needs to be processed, but hard times make it a little bit more challenging. So we'll get through it.
John Edwards, everyone knows you, but would you like to say anything?
No, I'll just reiterate, thank you, Madam President. Reiterate that happy to be here to continue to serve the town and look forward to working with everybody here on coming up with an appropriate budget for our fine community.
Thank you. Sherry, anything else?
I just was gonna say, we last year ended with Mr. Cotta kind of, forewarning all of the departments that the town's revenue for fiscal year 21 will probably be as limited, if not worse than it was in 2020. So my hope is that we can work together and we'll see budget submissions that anticipate, these issues. And I'm sure Mr. Cotta has taken his budget will already have taken all of those things into consideration. But the times are changing and we've lost a lot of revenue, not only from the casino, but also from other businesses. And I just think we need to make sure that that all the departments are thinking about that, and that the ability of the taxpayer is not an unlimited resource. But I'm definitely looking forward to, trying to maybe think outside the box. And with all the new people that we have on the committees, I think we have a lot of great talent this year. So hopefully we'll be able to maybe come up and maybe even help Mr. Cotta come up with some ideas that other people haven't thought about, in the past. So that's it.
Thank you, Sherry. Would anybody else like to add anything before we adjourn the meeting?
I'll just make,
Jay?
oh, well, who's ahead of me?
Oh, well, Donna also has her hand up. So
Go ahead, Donna.
I'll go in order.
Okay.
Go ahead, Donna.
All right. Thank you. I just want to remind everyone that, it is a preliminary budget. Unfortunately, it looks like it's 29% increase. I just want to remind people that the COLA payment to Social Security was only 1.3%. And you have to remember that. Yes, we want our services and we want the town to run. We're going to be very, very careful on, how you prioritize. Everyone's not going to get everything, but you really need to prioritize, I think, for safety, especially if it has to do with safety. New staffing and various other things. And I think a lot of that needs to be carefully thought out because it does add. And once you increase the budget, it never goes away. If it's $200 for the year, you can't say it's $200. It's $200 forever. So you really need to think about that because then it compounds on top of each other. So I just want to remind people that there's a lot of people in town hurting, especially Social Security was only 1.3. And even if you're on disability or how many people are on Social Security, they could end up that they can't even live here. So we need to be very careful.
Jay?
The only comment I want to make is I want to welcome all the new budget committee members. I was the chairman last year, as many of you know. It's a steep learning curve and there's a lot to it. And all I can advise you to do is do your homework and keep your wits about you. And I'm sure you'll do the best you can.
Anyone else like to speak? Okay, then, I am going to call my meeting adjourned. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn the town council meeting.
So moved, Madam.
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilor Burke, seconded by Councilor Perry. All those in favor, Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Janik,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned. Jerry?
Okay, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the school committee.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I'll do a roll call vote. Mrs. Farnworth,
Yes.
Mrs. Pavo,
Yes.
Mr. Dakotas,
Yes.
Mrs. Balish. I'm not sure if she's still here. Don't think so. I vote yes. Okay, we are adjourned.
And I'll call the budget committee, call for a vote.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Who seconded?
Mike, me.
Mike Janik.
Yes. And
I think Joe froze.
yeah, Dan Darren.
Aye, and let's run meetings just like this going forward. Very
Okay.
expeditious.
John Edwards,
Yes.
Thor Ockery,
Yes.
Cynthia Isherwood,
Yes.
Judy Jones,
Yes.
Joe Souza, Mike Janik,
Yes.
Joe Schramm.
Yes.
Joe, you back? Yes? Okay.
I don't see him. All right,
He's
well,
there.
thank you, everyone. It was nice seeing you all, and we'll